So Spider-Man 3 on the NDS is actually our third outing on the NDS platform for Spidey. So right off the bat, we were setting goals that really revolved around what are we going to do that's new. So we're not treading on old ground. You know, we did Spider-Man 2 for NDS launch. That was a crazy project. We had about 5 months to make that game, make the engine, tools, you know, and the game on before the system launch. In fact, we only got hold of the final hardware to hold about a month before the system was launching. You know, when we got the first hardware, it was like circuit boards with one screen, and then circuit boards with one screen that was a touch screen. We really didn't know the real capabilities of the system, but we had a pretty good outing the first time around, and the way we used the touchscreen was to switch between the various Spider-Man powers at any time during combat, and that was pretty cool. You know, we thought that worked fairly well, and but we wanted to do more. When it came around to Ultimate Spider-Man, we had the opportunity to have a playable Venom, and with Venom and the Tendrils, we were able to do gameplay mechanics that use the stylus for combat situations, and people really liked that. And we said, wow, you know, we're starting to build some pretty neat tech around it. We're learning how to better use the touchscreen in combat, and to be able to use the touchscreen with really fast response in a brawler, in a fast action brawler kind of environment, with the right kind of collision detection and timing and things like that, it was quite a challenge. So after USM, we had the opportunity for Spider-Man 3. We decided we were just going to go into R&D for a little while before starting Spider-Man 3. And we said we want to take a radical step on the project, and we want to go all touchscreen. And to do all touchscreen was going to be really ambitious because the entire combat system and movement system had to be extremely responsive, and in a way doing gesture recognition with strokes. You know, it's kind of roughly analogous to the Wii, you know, accelerometers, but it's kind of like handwriting recognition, and needs to be fast. You know, all the different strokes and curves and motions that you want to do, and be able to string them together had to be really fast and had to be really responsive. And have a high degree of accuracy. We also wanted to have the game be playable by like 5-year-olds who just wanted to scribble and just do like rapid combat like that, and core gamers who are able to do more precise, you know, targeted movements and stuff like that, and chain combos together and things like that. So we spent many months in R&D in just kind of what we call a white room environment, you know, testing out combat and moves, and it allowed us to kind of rebuild up the core gameplay of Spidey. In a way, our mantra for both the Wii and NDS project is reinvent how you play Spider-Man, and that's what we set out to do. So with that strong foundation, with a touchscreen-based combat system, we made some enhancements to the core technology and just focused on the game, and that allowed us to put a lot more depth than we've ever had in a Spider-Man game on a handheld. Tons of missions, side missions, crime wave, black suit mechanics that are different than the Wii, and so it's in and of itself a unique take on the black suit, and multiplayer modes, and a really deep upgrade system. Graphically, it's beautiful. People seem to think, wow, I didn't know the DS could do this. You know, the DS is an amazing little system. You know, it's got a lot of power to unlock, and I don't think we've fully utilized it yet, but we're getting close. And with this one, we actually took technology we had built on Tony Hawk's Downhill Jam that gave us full-on streaming, and do tons of streaming of textures and animation and audio, and it really allowed us to build a massive world. So all the levels and parts of Manhattan, these different districts, are all interconnected, and you can go back and forth with lots of missions that are occurring in a nonlinear fashion. So it really feels like a much more open environment. The world is really vast, and with amazing compression, on the cart, we're able to produce a pretty long game that's also just visually very distinct. VV has a long history with the Spider-Man franchise. In fact, the first ever game that we made for Activision was Spider-Man for Game Boy Color, and that was our big breakout title on the Game Boy Color platform, and really that was the title that Nintendo took real notice of, and we were really proud of that because it was such a huge game, and at the time, even folks at Nintendo were saying that's one of the best games they had ever seen on Game Boy Color. That actually gave us access to the Game Boy Advance hardware almost a year before the system launch. It was the one game, and Spidey's been with us ever since. Shortly after the launch of GBA, we had Spider-Man: Mysterio's Menace, which was also a pretty highly rated game, and we had done Spider-Man 2: Enter Electro for PlayStation as a follow-up to Neversoft's game. And more recently, we had Ultimate Spider-Man that we did on handhelds, on Game Boy Advance as well as Nintendo DS. Of course, can't forget Spider-Man 2 for the Nintendo DS, so I think that's most of them. Maybe I'm missing some stuff. We actually did the mobile phone Spider-Man, some mobile phone Spider-Man games. And of course, Spider-Man 2 for PSP launch. So we've done a few Spidey games, and we know the IP pretty well, and got a lot of Marvel junkies at VV, and deeply passionate about the franchise. And the third movie is spectacular. It really drives the movie franchise forward. We've been able to take stock of everything that we had learned, in past games, to build this pretty ginormous, open city experience on the Wii. Not to mention a pretty big game on the NDS.